Yeah, good evening. Yeah, my name is Olatunji Matthew Olashupo. I love to watch the Entertainment Plus on Channel 12 here in Port Antonio. Nice station to watch. Join us and keep watching, and God bless you all.
Welcome back to our topic. We're live tonight. Of course, you just heard from the Charleston Maroon, and they're having their conference from July 22 through to June 22, through to June 25. We have on set with us Dr. Derek Deslandes. He's the president of the College of Agriculture, Science and Education. Doc, welcome.
Thank you very much, sir. And thanks
Still new in the job?
Well, if you call a year and three quarter new.
That's a long time though. That's not really new again.
I don't think so. I agree. I take the point.
No, that's not really new again. But we should have had you here before. But
absolutely,
you know, not before the time.
I kind of sneak in, you know.
Well, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, to be frank, I was born in Kingston, but I moved around quite a bit. Usually from Kingston to St. Mary. My family's from St. Mary.
Close to Portland.
Yes. And I used to go to St. Mary High. I spent 2 years at St. Mary High School.
Cool.
And most of my brothers went to St. Mary High.
My son went to St. Mary High.
Right. Excellent school.
Good school.
So I've always been a son of St. Mary. In fact, I enjoyed St. Mary quite a bit. I was at the country and for agriculture and so forth. So, but I never really did agriculture as a career. I started to plant commercially and was not particularly successful. So I decided that there must be an easier way to make a living. So I started working on a construction site in Otrius, and the work was hard. Work hard. You know, and my mother felt sorry for me because the fingernails get yellow, because you play in concrete every day. So I decided to go back to school and basically just kept going. All the way to Chicago, Florida State University.
Florida State University.
Well, UWI, then UWI Kingston, Northwestern in Chicago, and then Tallahassee, upstate Florida.
So I have a daughter who just started going to Florida State University.
Excellent, beautiful.
Actually, she went in Friday.
No, excellent school. Excellent.
So my kids are following you. What had sent me? I know what had.
That is excellent.
Really good. No. So where were you before?
So I came back. I got a scholarship to go to Chicago. Came back and started working with UWI. So I started working with UWI on the 1st of July in 1994. And I have always been a bit adventurous. So for me, university provided me the opportunity to move around, to do what I want to do, to move in and out. So I tended to go out and come back in. So I've taken many vacations from UWI.
Okay.
Although I suspect that this may be my last one.
So you are at Case now?
Case now. But before Case, I was at UWI. Then in 2007, I went to NCB for a year. 2008, I went to Ministry of Agriculture. Because at the time, people started talking about marketing and the importance of marketing agriculture produce.
Right.
Now I am a marketer by profession.
Cool.
So and I do a lot of work on tourism. So I kind of straddled both tourism and I took on agriculture. And I think we did a lot of good things in agriculture, some of which are still working today. And so the love for agriculture was rekindled at that point. That was 2008, and I really have not looked back since. I've gotten deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So eventually, 2015, the opportunity came up to come to Case, and I basically took it.
I'm really eager to ask, so what's the vision for Case?
The vision for Case is to establish Case as a university in 5 years.
I taught my language.
So that's the vision.
No, you taught my language.
But to establish a vision, once you have established that vision, you have to then decide now what is that we need to do in order to get that.
To get there.
And so part of what we're doing is that we are developing a strategic plan. We don't finalize. In fact, we're going to finalize it this week.
But before you start telling me about the plan, was there a plan for that before you came?
I think there is always a plan. Case, if you think about Case in this way, you have to look at the history of agriculture training in Jamaica. Case really part of case, at any rate, really started that journey in 1910 as government farm school.
Right.
And from government farm school, it became Jamaica School of Agriculture, JSA,
Yeah.
and was at Twickenham. Farm school was up at Hope Road. Then it moved to Twickenham as JSA. From JSA, it moved to Passy Gardens as COA.
Passy College of
No,
Agriculture.
no, COA. Because you had a College of Agriculture, but that was changed, right, and transformed to COA, College of Agriculture. So you had College of Agriculture and you had the Passy Gardens Teachers College,
Right.
PTTC. And in 1995, they merged both of them to create CASE. Now, I think if you look at the legislation around CASE, you recognize that CASE has the elements to transform into a university.
Easy.
Because CASE can write its own degrees, it can give up the PhD, so it has a legal framework already to make that shift.
But we've been slow, haven't we?
I mean,
We should have been there.
Agreed. In fact, when I talk to the old persons from Jamaica School of Agriculture days, they tell me, well, UTech and CASE was at the same level. Well, at the time, JSA in the 70s, they were at the same level.
It's typical Portland.
So,
in
and they have been, in a
1929,
sense,
Marcus Garvey said Montego Bay and Port Antonio should get city status.
Right.
Montego Bay is the second city. Port Antonio still
Right.
not have city status yet. I want to look nowhere near it.
Right, absolutely. We see part of the problem I find is that Portland is a little bit laid back.
No, man, that not say it so. Say it the way it is, man.
I've been
Don't put it up, man.
I've been diplomatic.
No, man. No,
So I struggle with that.
Portlanders are lazy.
I don't want to go that far.
Yeah, man.
I want to say that
They're a lazy
I'm
set of
comfortable
people.
saying that they are laid back.
Laid back. Okay.
And I think that and I think part of it is that there's a certain level of comfort, and I find that culture is infused throughout the college.
But
Now I am by nature very aggressive, and
So they're not gonna like you.
and also driven.
so I'm not gonna like
Right,
you.
and I don't like not to achieve. My thing is that I have a reputation. But what I've recognized is that there are some gems in CASE. There are some really good people. And I think that what you're seeing emerge in the past 2 years is really a reflection of giving those persons the opportunity to shine
Yes, yes.
and supporting them. 'Cause a lot of the plans that we have come up with are not mine. I mean, there are people at CASE who have sat and thought about this.
But you see, but those are the traits of a great leader. You don't have to have all the ideas, you
Right.
know. But to be a good leader, you have to be able to take people's ideas
Right.
and put them forward and still give them the credit.
Right.
Like how you just say, a lot of the ideas are not mine, you know.
Right.
Yeah, you understand?
It's execution.
So
I think
those are-
what I bring to the table is execution.
definitely how to get it
because
done.
I get things done. And I tell you something, you know, I mean, I always thought of myself as a little dyslexic. I mean, you know, sometimes we, as men, we self-diagnose.
But
So you read up, but it wasn't Google then, but encyclopedia.
right.
And so some of your question, why you did this? So you kind of say, maybe, you know, kind of dyslexic, because
To think some of the things.
yeah, and some of the things where you react sometimes. So for me, one of the things I always try to do is to complete what I finish.
Okay.
So no matter what I start,
What?
I am driven. So over the last 20, 30 years, I've just been focused. Once I decide on a pathway, I just laser like, and I just hold on to it, and I won't stop until I get it done.
I have always criticized CASE.
Yes.
And when I criticize them most of the time, and I must tell you, my daughter went to CASE.
Yes.
My eldest daughter went to CASE.
Yes.
And let me tell you, one of my criticism that I have had with CASE over the years is the connection between the college and the communities surrounding the college. I have not just blamed CASE on that, I have blamed the politicians as well.
Yes.
Because I think that they should be the link between CASE and the community, and CASE should be, as a college, as an agriculture college, should be impacting Norwich and Snowhill a bit more.
Well, let me tell you, I don't rely on politicians, first and foremost. So while I expect politicians to be part of the solution, they will have to catch us. They are not waiting.
Not waiting
They're
on
not
it.
waiting.
Very well.
So I would say to you that for me, the quality and of the school and the greatness of the school can't be divorced from the community within which the school resides. So I come from UWI, and if you understand where UWI is located,
Right.
UWI is surrounded, UTEC similarly, but UWI in particular is surrounded by Augustown.
Right now.
Now, Barry Chevans, Professor Chevans, once made a comment to me that if Augustown wanted to overrun UWI with guns, they could do it anytime. You follow what I'm saying to you?
Yes, I am following.
So UWI has to operate within a space where you have these squatter settlements around, you have Augustown, you have Jungle 12, you have a whole host of different areas. You have to incorporate the community in your development plans. Most of the people in Augustown work at UWI.
Work at UWI, yeah.
And I can tell you, as both a student and a lecturer, UWI is one of the safest place to be in Kingston.
Yes.
Okay? You have healthy crime, but it's minor. Now, that philosophy is what I have taken to case. Because for me, case cannot exist outside of the community. Case is the largest employer in Portland. And I don't think people understand and recognize that.
You employ more people at the parish council?
I suspect so. Yes.
You do?
We have over 300 employees.
Well, I guess you've gone over the parish council.
So I'm saying to you that even though trying, case already has a massive impact, but who knows about it?
Right.
So what that is that we're doing? Well, first of all, we have some outreach programs that we're developing. We are upgrading the case IT infrastructure. In other words, we want to give case high-speed internet, farm, buildings, dorms right across the campuses. And we got that through funding from Universal Service Fund, which I have to say thank you. I mean, they gave us $87 million, which we are now spending to upgrade.
It's a lot of money.
Yes. And what we're doing now is that we have incorporated Norwich Primary School. So we're going to provide.
That's that's the kind of thing
right.
when we expect, that I've been expecting a long time.
Right. So we're putting in internet within Norwich.
Norwich Primary.
And we're going to do it in Snow Hill as well. So the two schools that are beside us, essentially, we provide internet services to them as part of this project. And we also started last year to offer free math and English classes at Case for CXC.
Free?
Yes, free.
So who know that?
Well, I mean, we do. I mean, well, Malik was telling me we know. I don't think enough people know about it, but we do offer free math.
You see, now that you tell me, I will, but people ever know because me talk it for radio Saturday morning too.
So we have a free classes, and what we do is that we try to. I recognize that we don't have enough Portland residents at Case.
At Case.
But I recognize that there are significant number of persons in Portland with 5, 6, 7 O levels and sit at home and not doing anything.
That's why I'm telling you, it's not laid back, brother.
You understand me? But I think it's also a lack of knowledge too as well of what's available. Because the point is that when you come to Case, we're not turning you back. We find scholarships. We get you into work study programs so we can help you. We encourage you to go into student loans. I mean, so we find ways of keeping you in
So you're saying there's a free math class, math and English,
class. Well, we encourage you to do you get math and English free. We encourage you to take another subject
and pay for that one. Fair enough,
right? And then now we link
get
you
the two main ones free.
So and then once you have those two, you have for example,
is it a compulsion that you must take the third one?
Yes, because that's one of the tools we're trying to use. What we're trying to do now is get you enough subjects to come into Case full time.
Cool.
So what we find is that there are a number of students with 5 O levels, but they don't have English. O level dates me, right?
Yeah, man. But we don't 5 CSEC, no English.
Or 5 CSEC,
no math.
Yeah. So if you come in to do that, and you already have 5, then you can enroll in the school. And you work through the math and English class, and then you come in full time. So in other words, we'd allow you to come into Case
without the math or the English
and a conditional acceptance.
Right.
And you sit the class, you go to classes, and we expect you to pass. You regularize your status.
Very right. You know, Damien Crawford had a program in his constituency.
Damien is my teacher. Was my student.
Was your student?
Yes. Damon's one of the persons that influenced Damien in terms of the outlook.
You see, as Jamaicans, I don't understand how we think.
Right.
And even more so as Portlanders. You said that whole idea about 1 degree in every household and then you turn it up to 2. That is the only way we're going to build this nation.
Right.
And people love talk about Singapore and Singapore this.
You don't have to look at Singapore. I mean,
and they don't understand.
Barbados is close to us. I mean, I was the first. I'm a family of 9. Right? I'm the third child, first child to attain university, to obtain a university degree. Having done so, I have had 3, 4, 5 brothers after me,
who have gone to university,
including ones that are older.
So it's about setting the trend,
and it triggers
get it
a mindset change.
Yes.
Now every youngster in my family now expects
aspire
to go to university,
and everybody in the family expect that you're going to go to university.
Absolutely, because now the bar has been lifted and raised, right? And so it becomes now, and you open a gateway. And
then everybody now can sustain themselves.
Right. I'm a social scientist, so I find it fascinating because I'm a researcher, I'm an academic, so I think about these things a lot. I mean, I sit and think about them. And one of the things I think about is this interesting psychological shift when that one person in that family makes that shift, that move. And psychologically it just opens the mindset of everybody else.
Exactly.
To aspire
so every child after now is expected to finish high school and go to university.
Absolutely.
And then you don't expect nobody else to suffer in the family.
Absolutely. That's exactly the point.
But we throw them out.
Absolutely. And you also create
that's not the kind of thinking Jamaicans want.
And you create competition within the family too.
Exactly.
Because
within and it starts to impact the community. Because the community don't start look and say, yeah, then if master you them can what to uno.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? We're not looking that way as Jamaicans. You talk about research.
Yes.
What kind of research case is doing right now? Because sometimes I wonder if case
research has not been the strong point of case. But my philosophy as a researcher is that CASE is the only institution of its kind in the Caribbean. It's the College of Agriculture, Science and Education. We have strong education programs. We have strong science programs. And let me just make the point here that Portlanders don't have to go anywhere for their education because we have it all.
I agree.
We have tourism. We have hospitality, we have business. You can do math education. So the point is that CASE can provide for the needs of the community, but we are the only dedicated college of agriculture. And therefore it is important for people to understand that carries with it a certain level of responsibility to provide the kind of research and guidance that the community requires.
And to assist
and
with
community
security.
Community is not just CASE, Portland in this case. The community is in Jamaica because we get students from all over the country.
And you ought to be serving Jamaica and the Caribbean by extension.
No, coming from UWI, we do a lot of research, but a missing piece within agriculture is the absence of applied research. Because you can do theoretical research, and theoretical research, you come with a theory to explain certain behaviors. But application
to put it to the test
is what the farmer requires today to help him to improve his productivity. And I can tell the single greatest threat to our ability to provide food security is productivity.
Doc, I had approached.
Okay.
I had approached. What he was at the time. Was head of certain faculty of CASE to do a research, because I don't know, crayfish is one of the few places you find crayfish here in Portland. Crayfish is they live in fresh water.
Yes, I eat a lot of it when I was in St. Mary.
They breed by the thousands, jah-t. But what happened in the river is the mullets eat the young ones. And I am always of the opinion, because crayfish is similar to lobster.
Right.
Okay, you can grow a crayfish.
If I get bitten by a crayfish,
yeah, man. You can grow a crayfish up to maybe about 2 pounds.
Right.
And then lobster times they have the close season.
Right.
And I'm saying if we can raise crayfish at a commercial level, it would mean significant income for people.
Right.
And I ask, and nothing happened.
Right.
Isn't CASE our institution that should be able to do those kind of research.
It should. Part of what we have to do is to acquire the right resource into the college. I would say to you that we don't have as much coverage in terms of seafood, in terms of, crustaceans, whatever, as we need to. We have good coverage in crops. We have coverage in animal science, but in terms of that aspect of it. In fact, we are now trying to build what we call an aerophonic system, or hydroponics, sometimes I get it wrong, right? But where we basically grow vegetables and raise fish at the same time.
In the same place?
In the same place. And in fact, we think that is one of the ways that a small backyard farmer can in fact begin to generate revenue, right? That can allow him to be self-sufficient and also sell his surplus, which is typically what Jamaican farmers do. So it's something that we are pushing now. In fact, we have approached Sandals Foundation, not very successfully. We approached EFJ. We're still trying to get them to look at our, but they have been good to us, so we're not complaining. But the point is that we are trying to move into that space. We have a small unit, but it's not big. It's not where it needs to be. So the point is that we also try to get a U.S. researcher to come to Jamaica to look at our marine resources. One of the things that I have an interest in, because I love parrotfish.
And I'm so enough to eat them.
But my thought process is that, okay, if the problem is that the young ones are being eaten out and fished out, why not create a marine environment that allows the young ones to grow and to be multiplied? In other words, can we create an environment
so we have more, so we can
produce more of these
so
things,
we can eat and still have enough?
Exactly my point. So that we have actually done a research proposal, and we're trying to get funding to do that, because we think it's rather than simply say let's not eat any more crawfish. That's not realistic. Personally, that's my personal view. I'm still going to eat unless they ban it, right? So the point is that what can we do to improve and increase the amount of fingerlings and protect them? And I've seen it done, For example, maybe 10 years ago, I did a piece of research on shrimp for a company called Campus. They have a farm in Old Harbour. And we looked at the idea of casitas, which are these houses that they put in the sea to protect the lobsters and the shrimp from being eaten by predators. The same principle could be applied to parrotfish. You could create an environment that is protected, that allows them to grow and develop. Because if you look at the research on for example, marine parks, what marine parks actually allows is the smaller fishes to develop. And as they develop, they expand and the entire ecosystem changes in a very positive direction. So I really think that's something I wanted. So we have been looking at it because Case is unique. Case has all the features of a marine environment. It has all the features of the hillsides. I mean, it have all the rock formations. It have
multiple
caves.
features.
So Case really is a very, very interesting ecosystem by itself. So we need to exploit that some more. And that's part of it. It's not great for crops because, to be frank with you, the soil is not particularly good. And you have a lot of rocks too. And
a lot of saltier that
right.
comes
So,
up.
but they can grow fruit trees. So those things that we have to kind of look at. Okay, how do we move Case forward? We have to expand. So we are looking for land. Right now we're looking for land in Anata Bay and elsewhere. Large expanses that can allow us to mechanize, because part of
you have lands in Spring Garden, don't you?
It's not very large. Right now we probably are producing some of the best bananas in the country. People don't know it. We started growing pineapples now. We're doing sweet potatoes.
You're growing pineapples in Spring Garden, though?
Yes. Cool. And we have, excellent quality. The new variety, which is something that we introduced while I was the Minister of Agriculture a few years ago.
That's the same variety that they grow in Anata Bay?
Yes. It's called MD2. Less acidic, easy on the stomach, easy to peel. And it's a designer pineapple. You can put it and just peel it easily. So it's something we're encouraged to produce, and it's more productive. It's always about productivity.
Yes.
Because that variety, you can put 24,000 plants on 1 acre. For the regular variety, you can put more than 6,000 or 8,000 plants. Cool. So immediately, your production increases by a 400%. We have actually applied for a project with jah-t, and what we're doing is that we are looking. We have created what we call we're talking about the smart farm concept, right? Where we're actually now looking at creating the kind of barriers to minimize erosion, that kind of thing. So pineapple is is an excellent crop for barrier for those kinds of issues, and it's climate friendly. So part of our climate smart solution, one of the climate smart solutions, is to use pineapple as a kind of barrier crop that can be grown on hillsides and minimize erosion and so forth. So we have applied to jah-t, where Case will actually acquire plant material for the new variety, identify farmers in critical areas like the Buff Bay, Rio Grande Valley, and then basically provide the farmers with plant material, train them, guide them, and then basically have a revolving program that will expand as we generate more plant material. So Case actually plans to establish an agro-processing facility for pineapples. And we're basically, the goal is to put in about 20 acres of pineapple, actually. So we want to become a major center of production of pineapples.
Okay, so with your processing plant, you do the pineapple juice, the pineapple slices.
Yes, whole peel, yes. So we're seeking funding to put in equipment.
How long are you going to be here for?
At Case?
At Case.
I get the question 3 times a day.
No, you see, to really achieve,
right,
you have to have the vision.
Right.
And they say what the mind conceive, you can achieve.
But you heard my earlier comment, which would give you a clue.
Well, you said you don't plan to go anywhere else.
But also the other point that was probably more critical is that I like to finish what I start.
I like the part about within 5 years, the next 5 years,
that's the target.
University status.
Yes.
I love that, because that will bring so much more. And of course, it is a long time vision of mine as well.
Right.
Which is a little segueing a little bit that the Port Antonio Hospital will also become a training hospital.
Right.
I'd really love to see that. And therefore, with Case moving into university status, lends itself to a whole heap of opportunity. And you say you employ what, over 400 people now? Over 300
right,
at university status.
And that's really prominent, sometimes because of our right now our construction activities.
What is that? What's the construction happening? What's happening there?
Well, first we're transforming the college starting from the gate.
Okay, cool.
So we're replacing
from the entrance.
From the entrance. So we're changing the entrance. We are creating the ambience that demonstrates that this is a college.
But people, one of the things I've always hear people criticizing Case about being an agriculture college, and when you pass outside on the road, it not look, we not see the sign of it. You'd expect to see the aesthetic outside, right, the landscaping,
absolutely,
the gardening. You expect to see, when you pass, you expect to see something impressive, and we have never seen it.
That is what.
And we wonder, what am I do? What am I do at Case? How them can't make out just a look?
That's what we're doing.
Maybe we even want to drive out there, just go look on it to clear your mind.
We're taking off the hillside, that right at the very front there. We're flattening the area. We're going to landscape it, put in benches for students to sit and read and do research. We're going to grass it properly. We're going to put in palm trees and walkways going down into the college. So we're going to basically change the ambience. We're also putting in a tissue-culture lab right at the front. There's a building that's going up right behind. So we're building a tissue-culture lab because we want to become a center for plant propagation.
Okay.
For plant material, because one of the critical variables in agricultural productivity is the absence of clean plant material. Now again, this is science, it's not hearsay or feel good. We recognize that let me give a simple example of sweet potatoes. How do farmers acquire plant material for sweet potatoes? They buy from their neighbor or they beg from their neighbor. Every generation that you produce, the productivity falls, because essentially you are diminishing the genetic material, and the further you go away from the genetic origin of the plant, then the quality falls off, and it affects your level of productivity. Sometimes a farmer can plant potatoes and don't get one. Right? What the researchers suggest is that, and what the Americans and the Canadians and all of them are doing, and the Dutch, if you can maintain a certain level of quality in your plant material, you can immediately push your productivity by 30%. In other words, a farmer could increase his level. In fact, I think it's even more for Jamaica, because the average farmer in Jamaica produces about 8,000 pounds of sweet potato roots per acre. In North America, the average is 22,000. in North Carolina, last year, 2015, their average was £36,000 per acre. Now, how you think about that in terms of the prices? Because if you don't have, so you start with clean plant material, you improve your planting methods, your methodology for planting, and you improve the quality of the labor you put in, whether you're using mechanization or whatever. But at the end of the day, your productivity allows you to sell the product at a cheaper price.
Because you have more.
Because you have a lot more. So you can still make a lot of money, even though you're selling cheaper. So essentially, we're going to target some critical crops. Ginger, major issue, major disease problem in Portland and elsewhere. We have to fix that. And part of the problem again is that because the plant is diseased, farmers don't know, so they buy the diseased plant from their neighbor and they
plant the same.
And they perpetuate.
So from before you plant it, you're not going to know it.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to produce clean plant material for ginger, sweet potato, Irish potatoes, and bananas and a couple other crops. Maybe not bananas, but a couple other crops. Because we work with the banana board, so we don't necessarily want to get into bananas. But certainly for those other root crops, we want to focus on getting those up.
You're watching Our Topic. We're live this Tuesday night. We're talking to the president of CASE, Dr. Derek Deslandes, and we're talking about a number of things. We're talking about the possibility of CASE becoming a university. We're talking about the kind of research that we'd expect from our agriculture college. And of course, we want to look at the whole education side of it, the teacher training side of it, and what is happening in our schools today. We have to look at that as well. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be touching on that. The phone lines are here, people. If you want to participate in the discussion, the number is 433-2519. That's 433-2519. If you want to participate in the discussion. Our Topic, we're live soon. Welcome back to Our Topic. We're live tonight, Tuesday, today's what, the 13th or the 14th? The 13th day of June. You know, we're on the year almost done enough. We're going into the second half of the year. Yes. And we are in the hurricane season, and the heat is up. So we just want to encourage people to drink a lot of water. Times are really hot. Drink a lot of water. We're talking to Dr. Deslandes, the president of CASE. Doc, we're talking about the research, you're talking about tissue culture. Again, I am disappointed because I believe that CASE should have started the first research in marijuana, medical, whichever kind of marijuana. I believe that CASE should have maybe a half acre down there ready to do the research. Where's CASE on that?
Well, we have now applied for a license. We have just completed the process. We are now awaiting decision of the government to grant us.
That should be a foregone conclusion. You are the agriculture college.
We think so. But, you know, let us not take anything for granted. But we have a Canadian partner, and as soon as we get the go-ahead, we plan to ramp up. But we are going to start. We're going to start doing some work in the next couple of weeks on some new strains and identifying strains as we can proceed on that pathway. It's important for us because we think that it would enable us to generate the kind of revenue that the college needs for its capital development program. Because once you decide that you want to become a university, it has certain requirements that you have to build into the picture. Structurally, in terms of its infrastructure, CASE is nowhere near where it needs to be.
So you need a lot of infrastructure development.
A lot of development of it. Yeah, absolutely. So that's why we start with IT, but we need to build physical structures. We want to move the farm from where it is now on the other side. We need to build out a tunnel house. We need to move CASE into the 21st century in terms of agricultural technologies.
Okay, still raising chicken the whole time.
Full coop. Yeah, full coop.
and as the agriculture college,
yes, absolutely.
you should be moving with the times.
It's a high sore from every time I see it, I get upset.
Yes.
Yes, but I should let you know though that we have not secured half of the money to build one.
To put in the first tunnel house.
Yes, and we'll do that. We're securing that half of the money so we can establish one.
What? $40 million for one?
Well, based on our infrastructure, we're not getting the big ones. We're getting one that can take 16,000 birds.
And that's a massive. Well, we know the maximum of what, 90,000?
Yes, most Jamaican houses are like 25,000, 30,000.
Right.
But for us, We have a source. We have source already. Identified a source through one of the major chicken companies, and we'll proceed along that line. By the end of the year, we'll have one operational.
Good.
So that is our target. We also we want to go into goats big time. Portland is not ideal for goats because grazing is problematic, and the goats tend to take up all the worms and whatever from the soil. So we are actually looking to build out a proper goat house, properly designed everything, and we're going to ramp up the herds of case.
Because I am of the opinion that when it comes to agriculture, case should have a model of every different area, so a farmer could walk in and look at it and say, all right,
because that's
this is really what you ought to have.
That's part of the plan. So part of the plan is that once you establish the IT infrastructure and you set up your proper goat and pig rear and what have you, the next step now is to start to offer the training to farmers. So farmers could actually come to case. They could go online and start the work, and they could come to case for 2 or 3 weeks and be in residence and basically learn and gain the knowledge that they require and then be certified.
Is that just an idea of yours, or that is something you're trying to implement?
No, it's something we're trying to implement, but we put in the pieces. We need to put in the pieces.
So how would you deal with a farmer, a man who has been a farmer all his life, maybe 50, 60, he don't have the 5 CXC, but he's a farmer. So, and we know one of the major problems we have most of our hardcore farmers, some of them are not even literate.
True.
How you plan to work through that?
There are different approaches. One approach we do know is that a lot of farmers, their children are able to read and write.
Definitely.
So one route is to the farmer is to really work through his children. That's one approach. The other approach is that there are some practical ways that if a person is not able to read and write,
you can train them.
You can train them because they're already in the know. What they're really doing is certifying his experience, right? So if he's a farmer, a banana farmer, he knows what to do. So you're really trying to certify him and correct some of the deficiencies in his knowledge. Now, you can't do that by just talking to the farmer. You have to demonstrate it to the farmer. And so one of the things you can do, for example, the farmer has this plot of land here, where you do film thing. You have a plot of land where you do your thing the right way, and you let him observe and see. So it's really training by observation. So he sees what it is that you're doing, and he recognizes that the results are vastly different. I mean, I've had many farmers that I've interacted with in the past, and one farmer, for example, tell me that, boy, it's 40 years him I do this.
And some I do it for 40 years.
And my information to him is like, what are you doing in 40 years?
Wrong. Yeah.
You understand? But it's something that I find that, and there's a very interesting approach. I was introduced by a company called ACDI VOCA that works with USAID, and we brought them in 2009, I think. But their thing is called it's a farmer field school. So the farmer actually comes to school
on the field.
In the field, he learns by doing, by practice.
Practical.
Yes. So that's part of the model that we're trying to introduce.
We've been talking about agriculture non-stop, like Case is just an agriculture school. I definitely want to go back to the teaching side, but before I go there, one of the main things people talking about these days around the world is food security.
Yes.
And people want to own certain type of thing. In fact, I heard a farmer saying the other day, the seeds that you are now buying to plant, when those plants come, the seed you get from them can't grow. Like, normally you plant some, let's say, okra, and you allow a few of them to grow whole and dry, and you plant, but you get your okra seed from that. People are now selling the seeds that is only one time they can grow.
Right.
How are we going to?
What sometimes drives that is some level of genetic modification.
Yes.
That doesn't allow the seed to be reproduced. But generally speaking, one way of avoiding that is to buy seeds that are certified non-GMO. Okay, but that's one approach.
But as Jamaicans, how are we going to get away from that so we don't keep buying
one way to do is to
from overseas? Is Case gonna get in on that?
Not for everything, but we'll take on some critical ones. So we take on sweet potatoes, working with the Ministry of Agriculture, Borders Research Station. We'll take on Irish potatoes. We already have an agreement with a university University of Santa Clara in Cuba. So the Cubans are helping us to produce seeds for Irish potatoes. Now I want to share a little bit of why the seeds in Irish, the seeds you can't reproduce them. Because essentially you're getting a seed, you're importing a seed that is already old. We buy Irish potato seeds from Holland every year, 95%, some from Canada, some from the US, but the majority of it is from Holland. When you buy those seeds, you can't replicate them because they're already at the end of their useful life.
So it's the last beer left on them.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's a very interesting thing now. When I went into ministry in 2008, we were buying what they call Class A seeds, and I just think it's a marketing trick, you know. Or market, so you pick
Class A is supposed to be good.
Yes, exactly. But the way it is, you know, is actually nuclear. Then they had elite 1, 2, 3. Then you had Class A, then Class B. Then the seed is disposed of.
So we're about the second to last class.
Yeah.
As Class A, we think it good.
So essentially, one of the things that we started doing was to prevent the importers from bringing in Class A and to start moving up to elite. And when you start buying elite seeds, you recognize you can actually replicate them more than once. Now, for what we're doing in Cuba, we want to give a farmer a second generation seed. So the farmer can reproduce that seed 3 or 4 times before it's
Dispose of it.
So that the farmer's productivity will increase, but the farmer's cost of production will fall because now he doesn't have to buy new seeds every year.
So they buy every 3 years.
Right. So we already have a deal with the Cubans on that because our lab is not up. So when we get the seeds in February, we'll grow them out in a greenhouse a couple of times and then we sell them to the farmer. Once the tissue culture lab comes up, we'll start producing our own seeds from tissue culture. So that's part of what the building is for. That's part of the use of the building. Now, Irish potato is one of the largest crops in Jamaica, and it's something that it's a pet project of mine, so to speak. It's something that I took on in 2008 at the Ministry of Agriculture, and I've kept going. And one of the things the goal that I've had for the longest while is to replace all potatoes that are imported into Jamaica. We import. When I came into the ministry in 2008, we were importing 22 million pounds. We're down to about 8 or 9 now because we have been very successful in reducing the importation.
So we soon can cut that right out.
I think this year, based on what I'm seeing and based on what the permanent secretary is saying from the Ministry of Agriculture, they'll probably be able to cut out importation completely this year.
So case have a vital role to play in all of that.
Absolutely. And then of course, the next step is to move to fries. His first thing is to table potato, where you need the seeds. So we import the seeds. Then we used to import the potato itself. So we want to remove that importation, remove the importation of seeds, which is what Case is taking on. And then we want to then attack fries.
So we import all of the fries.
Everything, yeah, man. Quite a
bit. We don't make none. We make any?
No, yeah. We don't do, no. And the variety that we grow cannot be used to produce fries.
Oh, so we need a total different variety because if you notice some of the fries are really long. So those are coming from some big potatoes.
Yes. But they're primarily coming from the Netherlands, the US, Canada. Those are the 3 main areas.
I was spending a lot of foreign exchange here.
Absolutely.
Let's go over to the teacher side of your university.
We have the full range of teaching programs, and one of the things that we have done, there have been in the past, in recent times, comments that Case is no longer education. That's not true. The fact is that Case is the only government tertiary institution in this part of the world, part of Jamaica. So it's critical for us to provide for the needs of the communities, whether it's in St. Thomas or Portland or St. Mary. So we still have a very strong primary education program. We have a very strong secondary education program. We're looking at the early child program as well, and we're looking to build an...
You seriously just looking at that?
No, what it means is that we want to build a diagnostic center. You know, I mean, these things require resources.
I have a serious problem with governments over the years, administrations over the years, because we are told that the best time for a child to learn is between birth and 8 years old?
Yes.
And 6 years out of that, or let's say 4 years out of that, would be in early childhood school. And we still have the teachers in early childhood not trained,
Right.
then how we expect to get the best out of our children? When we have some people who are teaching in the early childhood in area is, some of them barely can read and write.
Right.
And those are the people who are teaching our children at the best time of their life to learn.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I'm pretty close to the Early Child Commission because my wife is now the executive director. But we have partnered with them because we believe it is important for us to get involved. So they have been having some what we call early child fairs. They had one in Buff Bay, and they have one in each of the regions. And we have been partnering with them to, you know, provide food and support services. But we also do like a petting zoo, so the students can actually start interacting with the animals early. And you know, you have to start to get them to start think agriculture from very early. So we're actually working. In fact, tomorrow, a team from the ECC will be here in Portland, looking at some of the schools in Portland because they're trying to certify the schools, and they have set a target of certification. There are about 2,700 schools in Jamaica, and they want to certify all of them because the idea is to bring the schools up to a level, a standard that will guarantee a certain outcome in those children before you move them on to. Because what you're trying to is fix the problem before they get into the high schools, the primary high and ultimately college. So we are a strong supporter of that, and we work with them as best as we can.
So in terms of in terms of putting in that early child program, how close are you to that?
I think we're pretty close. I think we're pretty close. I mean, they are just
September.
I wouldn't say September. I think September maybe cutting too close. It's there, just that we haven't really gotten as much interest in the program as we probably have.
We're advertising it.
That is part of the problem.
We have styles, you know. We have Satcom.
Yeah, so we need to do. Case has not done a good job of promoting itself, and we're trying to correct that now. We have brought in a different approach to PR. In fact, we're not even talking about PR. What we're doing now is demonstrating to people the value of the College of Agriculture, Science and Education to their lives. And in that way, connecting with people at a much deeper level. Because everybody PRs, but it's not just about PRs. It's really about saying to the public that this is case. We are rejuvenated, we're transforming, and we want to be part and parcel of what constitutes your life. So I don't think most Portlanders even realize how important case is in our environment. I don't think Portlanders even hug up the college. You know, for want of a better word, or we should have really have case in our art. I don't know if I call case, as you say, don't put what they're doing out there. Right. But even without, we ought to know how vital this is to us and what this means to us. I mean, when you look at a place like Boston, Massachusetts, they call it what? They call it the university state. Right. And when you look at the kind of people who live there, the kind of qualifications that they have. And with case here, we should take the first opportunity as Portlanders to be a part of case and get ourselves up to a certain level and qualified. As I say, you have so much different program, free English class, free math class, but then again, how much people know about it. Well, that is true.
Where I want to come to
but if I may make one other comment though, is that that we also have a very strong HTM program, which is a tourism program, which is critical to Portland. In fact, that program has doubled in the last year.
But your students are migrating. Because we don't have no tourism sector in Portland.
True. I mean, it is a sore point. Portland requires a certain level of development, but not necessarily in the way that other areas have developed. All inclusive that don't think will work for Portland.
Why they wouldn't work?
No, because I think Portland is as a kind of environment and a kind of ecology that lends itself to a much higher level of tourism in terms of the quality of people.
But I don't see no reason why the all-inclusive wouldn't work either. Yeah. You know, but that's for a different debate and another time.
True. You know? True. I mean, I've been a fan of, even though I've not been to Portland before, I've always been a fan of Portland. I mean, I studied tourism. I did tourism tourism was part of my PhD process. And I've done work for the tourist board in the past, as early as 1996. So I've always seen Portland as a kind of, Portland attracts a different level, a different type of tourist that will require, it doesn't require the kind of investment you see in Ocean. At Airbnb, for example, which is a revolution now in tourism, would be a better match for Portland than an all-inclusive environment, because you have a lot of people with vacation homes in Portland that could become part of the product of Portland. And you could you'll be surprised at the amount of tourists that comes in. And by the way, they spend a lot more money than the all-inclusive tourists.
I agree, you know. I agree with that, but to some extent you still need the all-inclusive type hotel, and I'll tell you why. Because those are the kind of properties, are the kind of hotels that can do the kind of marketing that will put, let's say, a Portland out there.
Right.
Because you would be surprised the amount of people who come to Jamaica maybe 3-4 times and never heard of Port Antonio. I'll just give you an example. I was coming from Canada the other day on a flight, and I was surrounded maybe by about 7-8 people who were visiting the island, you know. And Monique, you know me, love to about Portland, so I'm start to ask them where they're going, and they say, well, they're on a vacation, so they come to Jamaica. So I said, have you ever been to Portland? Portland, where is that? I said, Port Antonio. Never heard of Port Antonio. I said, that's the most beautiful part of Jamaica. You've been missing out. And when I start telling them about Portland, they want to come to Portland, but they have never heard of Portland. So with the bread and breakfast, these people can't really, or they don't really market. You put up a little website or a Facebook page, but the proper marketing that a Sandals do.
No, I don't agree. I tell you why I don't agree. One of the revolutions or evolutions in marketing is the distributed nature of marketing today. Now, the internet has become one of the most powerful medium for marketing.
Fair enough.
Social media. Most major companies are converting to social media as their primary marketing platform. Right? We have not used that at all. Because when I put a Twitter message out there, for example, I mean, I can reach millions of people.
Fair enough.
So what I'm saying is that take, for example, you are part of what has to happen, and I don't want to get into towards the beat necessarily, but I just make this a couple of quick points. If you think about a vision of the entities in Portland working as a unit, combine their resources, and running a program, because you know my recommendation to the Ministry of Tourism in 1996 was to market each destination as a separate entity, because each Portland is not the same as Ocho, it's not the same as Montego, it's not the same as Negril. They are all different. And the beauty of tourism in Jamaica is that we have 6 or 7 distinct areas that offer a different type of experience.
You're right and all of that, you know. And one of the main thing that you say is that if all the players in Portland come together to do the marketing, and that's one of the problems, to get them to come together. So with a larger entity, they don't need to come together. The large entity just go and advertise. As we said, we can have that discussion about tourism, because that's why I'm a passion. We can have that discussion.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about. So we have HTM, which has doubled. We also have business, and come September, we are going to rebrand the faculties.
But what I want to talk to you about.
Yes.
What is happening in the teaching industry now? We have what happened at Vauxhall the other day. We have the whole aspect now that corporal punishment is illegal, totally illegal now. How do you train teachers now to deal with the kind of children that we have going to school, knowing that teacher can't beat you, so they tell teacher anything that come out of their mouth? How you training these?
Because now what you have to do now is that there are some emerging methodologies. In other words, how you train teachers today is different from how you train teachers 25 years ago.
And that's what I want to know. How you're training them.
What you have to do is introduce new approaches. For example, introducing social media as a part of your training tool, introducing internet and all its attendant variables within the classroom, and bringing more technology, so it becomes more technology driven. Also, you have to find creative ways of controlling students in your classroom. Gone are the days when you can take a strap and control them. No, you have to
the teacher come in that class with him strap with that name. My teacher strap is the name Nurse Gentle.
Right. So now you have to control the mind of that child. You have to get into the mind of the child. And so, for example, the psychology of teaching has changed tremendously. So how you approach teachers now, or the training of teachers now, is more a reflection of the recognition that each of those students in your class are independent and have a certain level of a certain level of behavior that can be controlled by the state.
Is case offering a refresher course to teachers who have been in the system for quite a long time.
We're doing that, and I can tell you that it's been funded by the government. So if you
because it is needed.
So for example, if you're not a math teacher, but you're teaching math, you can come in the case and upgrade your skill set so you can properly teach math.
My reason for asking that question, though, you know, is the teacher who were trained 25 years ago, when you could have flagged a child, still in the system now where now you can't touch that child.
Right.
You can't talk too hard. Because I have a serious problem with it, you know, Doc.
Right.
That it seems like government is setting up teachers. Because what I am hearing now, and from my understanding, is that the child have all the right, the teacher don't have no right in the classroom no more.
I think part of it is that no. Let me share an example, because sometimes the more things change, the more they remain the same. Because and I give a personal experience. I used to go to a school in Gale, St. Mary, Gale Primary, way back, and I used to give a lot of trouble in the class. And the teacher could have actually put me out of the class, but she kind of figured out that maybe something was not quite right. In other words, part of being a teacher, you have to be intuitive. You have to understand the persons in your class, understand how do you manage them. So she never beat me. She decided to put me in front of the class. And putting me in front of the class, she realized that I started performing better. Because what in fact was the case that I was half blind. I was not half blind when I couldn't see the board.
And nobody knew
that. So I was at the back there giving choke. I never had nothing to do.
Yeah, that's what
I can't read the board. It didn't matter to me. So I was just making trouble. Right? So what you put me at the front, I mean, so part of it is that even as a teacher today, you have to have the intuitiveness. You can't teach that.
I tell you something similar to that.
You can't teach that.
I used to get a lot of trouble at school, especially when I was in grade 9. And my teacher basically just gave me a whole lot of responsibility.
Yes.
President of the student council.
Yes.
Prefect. Deputy head boy. I mean, even when the principal said, "Oh, him? You're mad." No.
That's the point.
Mr. Manga, I think him still teach at Port Antonio High. But he insists that me have to have some responsibility. And with the responsibility, me have to behave now.
That's the point.
So, but you don't have much of those teachers anymore, do you?
But that's so part of what part of what you have to try to do now is to get teachers to recognize and accept that you are a manager in a classroom. In other words, there's a difference between the overseer and the manager. 20 years ago, you're an overseer. You can punish at your leisure. You can do anything and nothing can come out of it. Now you're a manager. It's not different from being the president of case. You know, maybe 30 years ago, I could, do anything to staff and not come out of it. Now, as a president, I have to manage the process. I have to manage the workforce. Because if I do anything, there are all kind of laws that come out at me like a
kind of union. And
so by the same token, we have to teach teachers know how to be more responsive to the needs of the students, how to understand what students are doing, how to read that the students may actually have a problem why they're behaving in a particular way. You understand me? Because you can't make an assumption that the child don't want to learn. I think you have to make an assumption that every child wants to learn, and therefore, what is preventing that child from learning? For example, I mean, I have been beaten growing up. I mean, I just look for my kids today. I don't spank them. I don't need to. Because they come into our system, they understand what is expected of them. You give them responsibility, right? And over time then they start to understand the difference between right and wrong. So you don't have to do anything because they know them right and wrong.
It leads me to ask you though, the ISA as a policy, and we're asking this question is because of the same high problem that you just mentioned, and children deficiency to learn, not that they don't want to learn.
Right.
ISA's policy that if a student wants to play sport, football for instance, they have to have a 45% average.
Yes.
What are your views on that?
I agree completely.
You agree completely?
Yes, I think you have to balance it. I think for me, it's about balance. What I and again I'm using my personal experience. I teach my children balance. I encourage them to get into sports, but to maintain a reasonable average. So
what if the child have some deficiencies?
Well, part of what you have to do as a parent, right, in this case, and maybe as a school, is to identify what are those deficiencies.
But you know, you know that some of our parents, as some teachers that don't have that kind of intuition, can't pick up. As you said, you are at the back of the class making trouble, not seeing the board well, but nobody never knows you can't see it. It is just basic. It's just luck on that teacher's part. That teacher find the problem. And my issue with that rule and ISA is that we don't have a system in our school that tests our children to find out who is having real issue in learning. And a guy having issue in learning, but what can I say? Still can play football well, and you're stopping him from playing.
No, but I tell you something going on. I mean, fundamentally, I think it's about empathy. I don't think we care enough about the job that we do. So effectively, I'm a teacher, and when I step into a classroom, I'm thinking of the student as an individual that requires help and assistance. If you go into that mindset, then it's easier for you to pick up where something might be going wrong, and don't assume that the child is wrong because they're bad. But assume that there may be something else that I can correct. So I think part of it is maybe we need to do testing of these teachers before they become teachers. So you identify the ones that are actually ideal for teaching. Because maybe not everybody is cut out to be a teacher.
But
in terms of the ISA rule, I think it's a reasonable rule. I think you have to figure a way to create that balance.
I couldn't accept that rule until we have a system in our school that tests our children.
Right. I mean, that's a reasonable point.
Because we do
not tell that 45 is really not a very high standard.
I know it's not a very high standard. But I still come back to your example.
Yes.
If that teacher never pick up and put you at the front of the class, maybe you wouldn't be doctor at this stage.
It is possible.
You understand what I'm saying? And as we are saying, and as I'm saying, it's just by luck. It's not that she knew that you weren't seeing.
Right.
She think you're just so maybe she like you, maybe she look at you and say, all right, so she'll bring you closer to her that she can monitor you.
And I can tell you something too. I was also, a very good athlete.
No, I never realized how past then. No, I never realized it. But the conversation is working.
No, absolutely. But
it's really worthwhile.
I think it comes down to balance. It's trying to help students to find that balance.
I agree with the balance, but as I'm saying, I don't think we have the system that that would allow us to stick out and say if you do.
Let me float an idea by it. Perhaps we talk about training, but we really don't train people to do the greatest job in the world. The most difficult job in the world is parenting. We need to have parenting classes. And they will always tell you that's the one that cannot be taught. You need to have parenting classes. I think there are some basic principles of parenting that I think we need to teach.
And if our parent can pick up on those, we'll be far down the wicket. Doc, it's a pleasure having you. We still not get to touch upon the whole sporting side of case, what case is doing as it relates to sport.
We're not doing a whole lot yet, but we have plans.
And you're doing tourism, you're doing business, you're doing education, science, agriculture. when we're going here about a program for entertainment management, the whole aspect of entertainment in it, because I also believe that that is one of the fillip that can really start this economy the way would love to see it.
We're going to get into that. I mean, the point is that we have to start where we are and then build out. For example, we have applied to the Chase funds to develop the case track. So we wanted to put a running track similar to what you see in the stadium, and then to build out the area. So we'd have a location within Portland that people could come.
That we have a proper synthetic
track. Yeah. But it's I mean that alone is $55 million.
So that's work in progress.
Work in progress. We brought the Germans in and they came in and did the assessment and gave us a costing. So
well, you start.
Yes. So it's something that's on the agenda. We also talking to a club about setting up a system similar to racers, on the campus.
Because it's a shame what we do have nothing in Portland.
No, it's work in progress. But it's an area that we it's not out. I'll tell you honestly, it's not on the front burner. But it's
somewhere down there by it start.
It's there, and we're working on it, and
I must tell you, I like your enthusiasm. I can see the vision,
right.
And really, I feel enthused that we look like we might be going somewhere with Case, because I think that is one of the big things that Portland has to offer, and we really would love to see it really achieve its full potential. Anything you want to add finally?
Well, I would say that for me, the development of Case can only bode well for the town of Portland Tony. And I suspect that people would have seen increased activities at the shops and supermarkets and KFC and wherever else, because as your numbers increase and
definitely
more taxmen coming in, so it helps the economy of Portland, and that's the vision essentially, because we think that Case has to play a bigger role in the development of the town. We are approached. I can tell you, we have already approached Sanders about Dragon Bay and how we can partner with them in terms of the training process and whatever else we can do. We are talking to Trident about looking at a program for developing, supplying them with vegetables and other foods. And we're talking about a farmers market in Portland that we can support. So we're trying to play a much bigger role. I can tell that we are also getting into a lot of the activities of the town, and we're participating as much as we can, whether it's a fun day or it's a 5K or whatever it is, whatever we are, marling tournaments, whatever it is. The college is a part of the town, and we intend to increase our activity and presence and visibility, because at the end of the day, this is a town. Case is in Portland. It is a part of Portland. It will remain a part of Portland for the foreseeable future, and so therefore we need to make it more accessible to Portlanders in every way.
Definitely. Doc, we'll definitely invite you back.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming. It's been a pleasure.
This
has been Hard Topic for yet another Tuesday evening. Let me say thanks to all of you for watching. And of course, we want to say thanks to our sponsors, Robinson's and Sons Hardware. They're at 18 West Palm Avenue, right inside of Port Antonio. Ella Systems Limited, 21 to 23 Harbour Street, the only complete computer store in Portland. For all your computer needs, sales and accessories, we can build a computer to your specification. And Tropical Lagoon Ice Resort, nestled on the top of the world famous Blue Lagoon. Thanks again for watching, and as we always say, you sits upon its vanity and have no love for humanity shall fade away. See you soon.